بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Sheikh, did we finish the section on siwak last week? I can't remember.
Yes, we finished the section on siwak. We will be continuing with the خصال الفطرة inshallah.
Okay.
Let me just put the book.
We did do siwak. Remember with the question about toothbrush?
Yeah. But we're still on that fasal, isn't it?
طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ريد بسم الله.
وأن يدهن غبا ويكتحل وترا ثلاثة ويقص الشارب ويقلم الظفر وينتف الإبط ويزيل الشعر العانة ويسرح اللحية ويخضب الشيب بحمرة أو صفرة والمزوجة يديها ورجليها بالحناء ويكره القزع ونتف الشيب ونتف اللحية والمشي في نعل واحد والانتعال قائما.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. He says وأن يدهن غبا, that he applies oil to his hair or body. غبا meaning time after time. So he shouldn't be doing it every day. This is not the act of a male person that is doing it every day. So whenever there is a need, so maybe one day he does it and the other day he doesn't. So أن يدهن غبا, غبا meaning time after time, not every day. So عند الحاجة he applies. ويكتحل وترا, and he applies كحل, the eyeliner, witran 3 times. Yes, it's better if you can do it with ifmid. Yes, if not ifmid, then any kind of eyeliner. It is sunnah witran 3 times. So he should apply 3 times on his right and then 3 times on his left. Yes, or some say that for witran as well. Of course, in the books of the Shafi, they say 3 times on the right and 3 times on the left. But with some brothers as well, from the Hanafi madhab, they say witran, so once on the right, then left, then right, then left, then you end up with the right, which means that you've done it 5 times in both eyes. So they consider that as witr as well. So witran 3 times on the right and 3 times on the left eye. وأن يقص الشارب, and that he reduces the mustache. Yeah, so reducing it is the sunnah. So he reduces it until you can see the skin. Yes, you can see the redness of the skin. Yes, and to shave it in the madhab of Imam Shafi, it is not sunnah. And the hadith that come about the shaving, then they mean that you should take it down until you can see the skin. Yes, but of course with the Ahnaf, for them shaving is the sunnah, and reduction of the mustache is it is not meant by what the hadith have come. So we say that to reduce the sharib, to bring it down until you can see the skin. ويقلم الظفر, yes, and to cut the nails. Yes, الظفر, yes, we can say الظفر, 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 الأظفر. There's 5 ways of saying it. Yes, and الظفر is what the Quran is in the Quran. الظفر, the 5 is got a dhamma as well. ويقلم الظفر, and that he cuts his fingernails, whichever way you can cut, whether you use the nail cutter or scissors. Yes, it is masnoon. The sunnah is to reduce it, except, biting the nails. Biting the nails is makruh. Yes, biting the nails is makruh, and it is said that it brings about poverty. Wallahu a'lam. Type. The way of cutting the nails, Imam al-Ghazali in his Ihya, he says, if you look at the hands, yes, and the inside of the hands is facing you, yes, so you start with the right, with the sababa or al-musabbiha, meaning the index finger. It's called sababa because when you argue with somebody, it is the one that you point with. Yes, you insult people with it. It's called the musabbiha because it is the one you use it for shahada. So it does tasbih. So the index finger, if you look at your hands, the inside of the hands, both of them, so you start with the right index finger and you go all the way to the left. Yes, so you end with the thumb of your left hand. So then you only have the thumb of the right hand, you finish with that. This is the way Imam Ghazali, he mentioned the way of cutting the fingernails. So you start with your index finger of the right hand. The hands are facing you. You start with the index finger of the right hand. You go all the way to the left hand. So you finish with the thumb of the left hand, and then you have the thumb of the right hand. You do that. Al-Imam al-Nawawi, he says, no, you finish with the right hand first. So you start with the index finger of the right hand. You go all the way to the small finger, and then you come to the thumb finger of the right. So that means you've done all of the right hand, you finish with that. And then you come on to the left hand. So you start with the small finger all the way to the thumb. There's another way, there's a weak hadith. Some say there's no asl to it. But one of the mashayikh, he had a dream. And in the dream, the Prophet came to him and said, why did you not act upon this hadith? Says, because it is a weak hadith. He says that you heard something being narrated from me and you did not act upon it. So in that hadith, it is cutting the fingernails alternating. So you alternate between the fingers. So if you put your hands and the outward is facing you, so you start right at the right hand side. So you start with the small finger, and then you do your middle finger, then your thumb, then you do your ring finger, and then you do your index finger. Yes. And then you do the same thing with the left hand. So you start with the thumb, middle finger, small finger, and then the index finger, and then the ring finger. Yes, but the hadith is weak. They say the hadith is very weak. طيب. He says, وَيَنْتِفَ الْإِبْطِ, and he plucks the hair of the armpit. Yes, وَيَنْتِفَ الْإِبْطِ, he plucks the hair of the armpit if he's able to do that. If it is harmful or it brings pain to him, then he shaves it. Yes, then he shaves it, so that he doesn't put himself in pain to attain the plucking of the armpit. And maybe the hikmah from it is that the armpit is a place of bad odor, yes, bad smell comes of it. And the hair brings about that smell. So if you pluck it, it reduces the hair. The growth of the hair is being reduced. So with that as well, the smell will be reduced automatically. But if you shave it, the shaving of the hair usually brings about the growth of hair. So more hair will grow. And with more hair, then the smell also increases. Yes. Al-Rabi', one of the students of Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, and he is the one who narrates Kitab al-Umm from Imam Shafi, one of the narrators, and amongst them he is the best narrator of Kitab al-Umm from Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi. Once he entered upon Imam Shafi and he found him that he was shaving his armpits. So he stood up and he was quiet. And Imam Shafi, he could see from his face that there was sort of inkar or dislike from him. So then Imam Shafi said to him, I have left what I used to do because it's painful to me. So it means that the Imam Shafi, he used to pluck. But because of the pain, he then turned to shaving. So he says, I left what I was used to doing and started shaving because it gives me pain. طيب وينطف الإبط, and he plucks the armpit hair. ويزيل شعر العانة, and he removes the pubic hair. And he removes the pubic hair. Yes, they say for the male it is better for him to shave his pubic hair, and for the woman it is better for her to pluck the pubic hair if she is able to do that, because they say the plucking of the hair, it reduces the shahwa, and the women, their shahwa is very high. Yes, the women, their shahwa is very high, so plucking reduces that shahwa. And they say that when the removal of the hair, the pubic hair, brings about what do you call, it makes it easy for a person to do jima. Yes, it brings about, it's sexually more pleasing, or I don't know how you can say, but it is easier to do jima than if somebody has a lot of pubic hair. He says, up to here, yes, the things that we've talked about, we do it according to the need. Yes, some say that every Friday, some say according to the need. Yes, but they say that it should not exceed 40 days. When it comes to 40 days and somebody has not shaved or somebody has not cut his fingers, then the karaha is, the dislike is intensified. So whenever there's a need, then one should do it. For the cutting of the fingernails, they say it's better to do it on Mondays and Thursdays, or the morning of the Friday. Yes, the same thing they say about what do you call using the pills that you take so that you can clean your stomach. What are they called? For ishal. They say that because of that is also called cleaning, so it is better if it's done on Thursdays. ويسرح اللحية, and he combs the beard. Yes, that also applies to combing the hair. If a person can part his hair right to left, then it is better. The Prophet ﷺ, at the beginning of his life, he used to comb it going backwards, because the Jews, they used to do that, and he used to like to do that. While the mushrikeen, they used to do tafriq, meaning they used to part the hair. So the Prophet ﷺ, at the beginning, he used to do what? To comb his hair going backwards. But then later on, he started doing tafriq, to part the hair. So if somebody wants to part the hair, it is better. So to apply oil and to comb the hair. Say the Prophet ﷺ, he had athar, he had the effect of oil. You will think that he is somebody who deals with oil. That's the way he used to apply oil to his hair and his beard. وَيَخْضِبَ الشَّيْبَ بِحُمْرَةٍ أَوْ صُفْرَةٍ, and he dyes the white. Yes, he dyes the hair from old age. بِحُمْرَةٍ أو صُفْرَةٍ, with redness or with yellowness. So maybe henna he applies, yes, but it is haram to use black. It is haram to use black dye unless it is for jihad. So he wants the enemy to fear them because they think that these people are young. Then that is fine. But other than that, it is haram for the male person to use, black dye. So he uses either red or he uses either yellow. Once Salama radiallahu ta'ala anha, she took out one of the hairs of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the people who were there to do tabarruk with it, and it was dyed. It had a dye. It had a henna dye. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr, his father, when he was brought so that he can embrace Islam, his hair and his beard, all of it was completely white. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he ordered that apply dye to it. So the applying of dye for the white hair, either with redness or with yellowness, but not black. Black is haram. وَالْمُزَوَّجَةُ يَدَيْهَا وَرِجْلَيْهَا بِالْحِنَّةِ, and the married woman, that she applies, henna to her hands or to her legs. Yes, so do all these kind of, drawings for the one who is married, and for the slave woman who has a master. So both of them can do that for the one who is permissible to have enjoyment with. If she is not married, she is of the age of marriage, then it is not permissible for her to apply henna, because this is called beautification. It is called beautification. So with this as well, the women, what they do, they do extensions to their hair. So doing extension of the hair, it's something which is najis. It's not permissible. And also with hair from a human being. Sometimes they do extensions of human hair. So that is also not permissible, not because it is najis, but because there is hurma and sanctity to the hair of the human being. So whatever comes out of the human being, it should be put away, buried or something like that. So it is haram then to be used for extensions of hair. If it is to use for when something else is being used, like threads or whatever, and then only if she is married or she is a slave woman who has a master, yes, and their sayyid, their husband, have given permission. So if they've given permission, then they can do it. Yes. For the tattooing is haram. For the beautification of the teeth, it is also like the extension of the hair. If the mutazawwija and the ama, the husband allows it, then fine. Yes. Sheikh Shihab al-Ramli, this is the father of Muhammad al-Ramli, and both of them were students of Sheikh Zakaria al-Ansari. So in his sharh, in his hashia of Sheikh Zakaria's sharh of Foroud al-Talib, he says that if the removal of a tooth which is not in its place, or it is zaib, or it has moved from its place, so you're trying to correct it, then that is fine for all, because this is not called beautification. This is bringing back the hay'a. So this is not called beautification. This is just bringing back things to where they should be. He says, وَيُكْرَهُ الْقَزَعُ. Yes, and it is disliked for the women who are not married as well, to apply all this makeup. For them it is haram, because it is in beautification. As for those who are married, if their husband, they don't mind or they order it, then it is fine. Yes, they say, even Muhammad al-Ramli in his Sharh al-Zubad, he says that if the husband orders the wife to apply black dye to her hair, then it is fine, because there is a need for that. Yes. There is a need for that. He has ordered it because he wants to get something out of his wife, that is to see her beautiful or to be sexually excited, whatever, then it is fine. طيب ويكره القزع, and it is disliked to do qaza'. Qaza' is cutting the hair some places and leaving the hair some places. So probably you shave an area and leave another area. This is very common nowadays. The Prophet ﷺ, he forbade it. He said either cut it all or leave it all. وَنَتْفُ الشَّيْبِ, and to pluck the white hair. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that the white hair is nur. Yes. And people said, the Sahaba said to him, there are some people who remove it. So he said, well, if anybody wants to remove his nur, then let him do so. So it means that it is disliked in Islam to pluck the hair, to pluck the white hair. Yes. And the first person they say who had white hair was Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And when it came out, he says, what is this? So he was told it is waqar. So he says, oh Allah, increase my waqar. Yes, waqar is to have that character of stillness and patience. Waqar. طيب ونتف الشيب, it is also makruh. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said shayyabatni Hud and its sisters, because in those surahs there's a lot of the ahwal of qiyamah and also the end, the dwellings of the people who are good and the dwellings of the people who are bad. So he says shayyabatni Hud. Sayyidina Bakr says, O Prophet of Allah, you have become old. He says shayyabatni, and started mentioning the surahs that has made him old. But because of his character and because of his the way he is able to take what others cannot take, it did not have an effect. So they say he had only around 20 hairs that were white, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he used to apply, henna dye on them. وَنَتْفُ اللِّحْيَةِ, and to pluck the beard also it is disliked. وَالْمَشْيُ فِي نَعْلٍ وَاحِدٍ, and to walk on one, to wear one shoe and walk in it. So one slipper and to walk in it, it is disliked. وَالْإِنْتِعَالُ قَائِمًا, and to wear your shoes standing up because there's fear of falling. But these slippers that we wear, because there's no fear of that, it is fine to put them on. But when wearing, for example, shoes and you have to tie or whatever, it is preferable that somebody sits down and not stand. And when taking them out as well, it is preferable for somebody to sit down and take them out. There is the beauty of the Prophet ﷺ in his adl, in his justice, that he says that if the head, you either shave all of it or leave all of it. Yes. Or for example, in wearing the slippers, you either wear both or, leave both, but don't wear one and leave one. Yes. Also, the Prophet ﷺ forbade a person who some of his body is in the shade and some of it is in the sunlight. And so it says either be both, and all of you inside the shade, or be out, but do not have half and half. And this is adala, this is justice of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the body. طيب. فصل
نعم. في فروض الوضوء. الأول نية رفع الحدث أو الطهارة للصلاة أو نحو ذلك عند غسل الوجه، وينوي سلس البول ونحوه استباحة فرض الصلاة، وإن توضأ للسنة نوى استباحة الصلاة.
طيب, let's do that only first. It says فروض الوضوء ستة. The integral parts of wudu are 6. Yes, these are the arkan of wudu. We said before that fard is that which is part of the act itself, and shart is that condition which is outside the act. So if you say shurutul wudu, like for example, the water has to be clean and so on. These are outside the act. Yes, shurut of salah, facing the qibla, this is outside the salah. But fard means it is within the act itself. So fard, like for example, the washing of the face is part of the wudu. Standing in salah is part of the salah, so that it becomes a fard. طيب. فروض الوضوء ستة. Yes. They say that the wudu, is it the khususiyya of this ummah or not? Yes, there is khilaf. Yes, but al-awla is to say that it is not a khususiyya of the ummah, but al-ghurrat wa tahjil, the light that comes from the wudu, the parts that has been washed by the wudu, this is the khususiyya of this ummah. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he was asked, would you know us? He says, yes. He says, would somebody know his horse, the one who has a ghurra, and the one who a ghurra means the whiteness. You know, some horses, they have this mark on their face. Yes. And tahjil is the mark that is, you know, above the hooves, meaning on their feet. So he says, will somebody know of his horse if he's got a mark on his face or his, and the same way I will know my ummah. So they say that the ghurra and tahjil, the effect of the wudu, this is khas to this ummah, but the wudu itself, it is not khas to this ummah. طيب. And when you say wudu, with the dhamma on the waw, it is the act of wudu. When you say wadu with the fatha on the waw, then it is the water used for wudu. So wudu is the act of wudu, and wadu is the water that has been used to do wudu. The same thing you can say for tuhur and tahur. Tuhur is the act of making tahara, whether it is ghusl or wudu, and tahur, it is the water that has been used for tahara. He says furudul wudu is sitta. There are 6 integral parts of wudu. The first one is niyatu raf'il hadath, to make intention of removal of the hadath, to remove the hadath, the spiritual impurity. So to make intention of removal of the spiritual impurity, awit tahara bis-salah, or to say nawaitu tahara bis-salah, aw nahwi dhalika, or something like that, meaning nawaitu raf'il hadathi, that has been said, aw nawaitu ada fardul wudu, or nawaitu ada al-tahara, yes, al-wajiba, the one that is wajib, or just nawaitu ada al-tahara, it is fine, or nawaitu fardul wudu, or even nawaitu al-wudu. Yes. In ghusl, if somebody says nawaitu al-ghusl, it does not suffice, because a person takes ghusl every day. Yes, it is a common act. So when he wants to make intention for the ghusl al-janaba, he has to say nawaitu fard al-ghusl, a compulsory ghusl. If you just say I make intention of a bath, every day you take a bath. So the niyyah is there to distinguish between ada and ibadah, between the common acts and between the ibadah. So because every day a person takes a bath, if he wants to make intention for the compulsory bath, it does not suffice him to say nawaitul ghusl. But wudu, because it is not similar to any normal act. So when you do it, it is a ibadah. So if you say nawaitul wudu'a, it suffices, even though there is khilaf in it. But if you say nawaitul wudu'a, it suffices somebody to say that. Or you can say nawaitu farad al wudu. Yes. Or you can even distinguish it from, like divide the niyat of wudu. So you can say nawaitu rafa al hadath min al wajhi. I make intention of removing the hadath from the face. And then again, when you wash the hands, you make another niyah, and so on and so on. That also, it is fine. You can do that. The niyah has to be continuous. So if you break the niyah in between, and then your wudu will not have been completed. So that is why they say that if somebody makes wudu, and then in the middle of his wudu, he also makes intention of to be cool. Yes, so he's cooling himself. So he must also keep the niyat of his wudu. He must remember the niyat of wudu, or that will be a sarif. It means that he has cut the niyat of wudu. And they say, for example, somebody is taking a bath, making wudu from a pond, let's say, and he washes everything, and his legs now needs to be washed. Before he washes his leg, he falls into the water. Yes, he says that does not suffice as making washing his legs. He needs to make intention for completing the wudu. But if he was to place his legs inside the pond, that is fine, because what the act of placing his legs, meaning that there is intention of him still continuing to do wudu. But him falling into the water, they say it is like a sarif. It sort of cuts his intention, because he didn't go into the water willingly. So because he didn't go into the water willingly, whatever the water has washed does not count unless he makes the intention of it being part of the wudu. And the heart is the place of making the intention, and the tongue, the pronouncing of it is sunnah. Yes, qiyasan on other places where the Prophet ﷺ has pronounced. So in Hajj, he has pronounced the intention. Yes, in Sawm, he did pronounce the intention. When slaughtering, he did pronounce the intention. So qiyasan on these ibadat, yes, which are main ibadat, not small ibadat, like Hajj and Sawm. So therefore, qiyasan on that, it is also mandub, masnoon, to pronounce the intention. Yes, they say it is because it makes the heart easier for the heart to make the intention. And Ibn Hajar, in his sharh of the Minhaj, he says also qiyasan ala al-hajj. So somebody should not have any doubt about pronouncing the intention. And the place of intention is at the beginning of the act. So at the beginning of washing the face, this is the beginning of the fard. So that is when you make intention of wudhu. Yes. If you want to make intention before that, so when you're washing your hands, or when you're saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, when you're washing your hands, therefore when you wash your face again, you have to remind yourself of that intention. Or to make it easier, just make intention that this is Sunan al-Wudu. I'm making intention of Sunan al-Wudu. And then when you come to the face, then now you make intention of Farad al-Wudu, or like we said, it is sufficient to say Nawaitul Wudu. Except in Sawm and in Zakah. Yes, because Sawm, it is very difficult to pinpoint at the time of beginning of Sawm. So the intention, you can keep it from the night. Yes. And also in Zakah. Yes, you will find that you come out of your home and you say, when I give this, I will make intention. And then you end up, you've given the thing. And the person is going with it. And then you say, oh, I forgot to include at the beginning of giving it. So for that as well in Zakah. And because also Zakah, you can give it before its time. So they say even in Zakah, there is tasahul of, not tasahul, but the intention is not at the beginning of the act. Right. For i'tikaf, yes, there is a talk about i'tikaf bahth, where they say it is at the beginning of the act. But how is it that when you are already inside the masjid, you are allowed to do the intention of i'tikaf? Yes, we say i'tikaf, the niyat of i'tikaf and the thawab of i'tikaf starts from the time you make the intention. So if somebody forgets and he enters the masjid, at that time he doesn't get the thawab for i'tikaf. So with i'tikaf as well, the intention is at the beginning. Yes, i'tikaf does not start with somebody entering the masjid, but it starts with somebody making intention of i'tikaf. طيب. نية رفع الحدث أو الطهارة للصلاة أو نحو ذلك. عند غسل الوجه, when somebody washes the face, because that is the time for fard. That is the beginning of the fard. وينوي سلس البول ونحوه, and the one who has incontinence of urine, meaning urine comes out and he cannot stop himself. Yes, is salasul bawl. We call him da'imul hadath. Yes, he's always in spiritual impurity. He's always in spiritual impurity. He cannot stop himself. So he's salasul bawl. You can see salasul dami, the one who has blood coming out of him. Or salisul mani, the one who always has, mani coming out of him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from this. Yes, or salasul rihi or whatever. Yes, so the one who is always in da'imul hadath, he's always in spiritual impurity. For him, what does he make intention? He says, istibahatu fardhi salah. I make intention of making salah, fard salah, permissible to me. Yes. So he has to make intention of those things that need wudhu. If he makes for those things that need tahara, for him to do them. If he makes intention, for example, nawaitu istibaha qira'at al-Quran, yes, then that istibaha is not jaiz. Why? Because qira'at al-Quran, the reading, the recitation of the Quran, can be recited without wudu. Yes, or for example, the reading of hadith and ilm can be recited and read without wudu. So if you make intention of those things that can be done without wudu, for that who is da'imul hadath in his intention, then that niyyah does not suffice him, because he can do those things without wudu. So he says, nawaitu istibahatu fard salah. I make intention of making the salah permissible, the fard salah permissible to me. And for him, and in tayammum, there are three levels of intention. Either you do istibahatu fard salah, and in that category you have fard of salah, you have fard of tawaf, like for example tawaful ifadah, and you also have the salah which is mandura, you did nadr. So these kinds of salah, they're all fard, or tawaf, they're fard. So if you make intention for one of them, you can perform any one of them, and you can perform only one. You can only do one fard salah or one fard tawaf, and you can make intention for one. You can make intention for fard salah, but then you can do with it fard tawaf. Yes, but it has to be that you only do one fard ibadah, one of them, and you can do whichever is not fard. So the second category is that which is nafl. So you can have nafl salah or nafl at-tawaf, yes, or salatul janaza, even though it is fard kifaya, but it is in this category, the second category. So if you make intention for the second category, you cannot do any of the first category, but you can do all of the second category as much as you want. Yes, until the time of the next salah comes. So you can do as many nafil salah as you want. The third category is things like touching the Quran. Yes. So with touching the Quran or sajdatul tilawa. Sajdatul tilawa falls under the third category. If you make intention for the third category, you cannot do the second or the first category, but you can do as much of the second, third category as you want. So if you make intention of the first category, which is fard salah, fard tawaf, and the salah which you did nadhr of, you only can do one of them, and you can do however you want of the second and third category. If you make intention of the second category, then you cannot do the first category. You can do as much as you want of the second and third. If you make the third, you can do as much as you want of the third, but not the second or the first category. This is for somebody who's da'imul hadath, and also it will come the same thing when somebody does the intention of tayammum. For the da'imul hadath, he cannot make intention of raf'ul hadathi, the removal of the spiritual impurity, because he cannot remove it. It is always with him. Yes, this is part parcel of his state. He cannot remove the spiritual impurity. So if he makes intention of raf'ul hadath, then it will not suffice him. طيب. What if he wants to make وَإِن تَوَضَّأَ لِلسُّنَّةِ نَوَى إِسْتِبَاحَةِ الصَّلَاةِ. Yes, if he wants to make intention of the sunnah salah, then he says نَوَيْتُ إِسْتِبَاحَةِ الصَّلَاةِ, for the one who is دائم الحدث. طيب. الثاني, the second one, read the second إن شاء الله.
الثاني غسل الوجه وحده ما بين منابت الشعر الرأس ومقبل ذقنه وما بين أذنيه، فمنه الغمم والهدب والحاجب والشارب والعذار والعنفقة بشرا وشعرا وإن كسفا، وشعر اللحية والعارض إن خف، غسل ظاهرة وباطنه وإن كسفا. غسل ظاهرة
Yes. In the
يستحب
first place,
تخليها ويستحب تخليل اللحية الكثة بأصابعه من أسفل.
طيب. The second fard is غسل الوجه, to wash the face. وحده, and the perimeters of the face is ما بين منبت شعر رأسه ومقبل ذقنه. You know, in length from top to bottom. ما بين منبت شعره, from where the hair normally grows. Yes, from where the hair normally grows. So if somebody has receding hair, that we don't count. Normally, where does the hair grow? Some people have hair growing into their forehead. That also does not count. We just want where the hair normally grows. That is the beginning of the face. وَمُقْبِلِ ذَقَنِهِ, and that which is at the end of his chin, that which faces you, not the bottom of the chin, but at the tip of the chin. So this is the length of the face. As for the width, it says وَمَا بَيْنَ أُذُنَيْهِ, and that which is between his two ears. So this is the width of the face. Yes. As for the two, what you call temple, the two white spots person have on the sides of his head. So that is not part of the head. What you need to do is, for example, if you put a line from where the hair normally grows, yes, and then you take that line to your ears. Whatever is below the ears, whatever is below the line is part of the face. Whatever is over the line, it is part of the head and not the face. Yes. So the two whiteness on the side of the head, yes, the temples, we say whiteness because usually hair doesn't grow there. Yes, they are not part of the face. They are part of the head. Right. As for whatever is in the face, yes, then in Sharh of Safinatul Naja, Nailul Raja, he mentions 20 hair that is within the face that needs to be washed. Yes. Here the Sheikh mentions some of them. He says, فَمِنْهُ الْغَمَّمْ. Yes, al-ghamam is the hair. So part of the face is the ghamam. The ghamam is the hair that grows on somebody's forehead. Yes, and it is not a good sign. Yes, a good sign is somebody has a big forehead and there is no hair growing on it. The Prophet ﷺ had a big forehead. A big forehead indicates a bigger brain capacity, so it indicates intellect. فَمِنْهُ الْغَمَمْ, part of the face is the ghamam, which is the hair growing on the forehead, wal-hudbu, and the what do you call, the eyebrows. So a person has two eyebrows. Wal-hajibu, hajib is the hair that grows on the eyelids. We call eyelashes. Yes, and everybody has 4 eyelashes. Yes, he has 4 hajibs. Washaribu, and the mustache. Wal-idhar, the idhar is the hair that grows near the ear. So we call them sideburns. Yes, so a person has 2 idhars. Wal-anfaqata, al-anfaqa is the baby beard. The baby beard is, it grows underneath the lower lip. Al-anfaqa, the baby beard. Yes, some of the things that he did not mention, al-arid. Al-arid is the one that grows on the jaws. Yes, this is called al-arid. So he has 2 arid, one on the left and one on the right. Yes, and then a person has the lihya. The lihya is the hair that grows on the chin. In the Arabic language, al-lihya is the hair that grows on the chin. And the arid and the idhar, they are not part of the lihya. But in the Sunniya, for the sunnah of keeping the beard, what we call beard. So the arid and the lihya, they fall under this sunnah. That which grows on the jaws and on the chin, they take the hukum of sunnah, so they need to be kept. طيب. That which he did not mention as well, as-sibal. As-sibal is the end of the beard that comes down, the side of the at the side of the mustache. Yes, on the right and the left, that which grows and touches the beard. Yes, they have it in, some of, as a sign of the Oriental person. He keeps his what? His sibal. So a person has two sibals, on the right, on the left of his mustache. That's sibal. And there is the an-nafaka. An-nafaka is the hair that grows near the baby beard, which is the hair that grows underneath the lower lip. It's called the nafaka or the nakafa. Yes, nafaka, nafakatun, or nakafatun, as in the dictionary. And then you have the hair that grows on your what do you call al-khaddan, the hair that grows on the cheeks. Yes, all of these hairs that we've mentioned, apart from the beard and the arid, all of these hair, they need to be washed inside out. Yes, so that is why he says basharan wa sha'ran, and that's the hair and the skin. So it means inside and out, they need to be washed. As for the sha'arul lihyati wal arid in khaffa, the hair of the lihya, the beard, which means the lihya, the hair that goes on the chin, or the arid is the hair that goes on the jaws, on the lower jaw. In khaffa, if they are light, ghasala zahirahu wa batinahu. He washes the outward and the inside, meaning he washes the whole hair and also the skin. Wa in kathufa, but if they are thick, ghasala zahirahu, he will only wash the outside. So you take water and you just wash the outside. Yes. So how do we know if it is thick or not thick? If somebody is sitting in front of you, let's say majlisul yani al-khitab, the distance when somebody, if you talk to him, not very far away, but where you can talk. If you can see the skin, it means that that beard is light. Yes. If you can't see the skin, it means that that beard is thick. Yes. And a person can have patches where it is thick and it is light. So for the thick, he only needs to apply water over the top. For the thin, which means he can see the skin, then he needs to wash the inside and out and make sure that the water touches the skin. وَيُسْتَحَبُّ تَخْلِيلُ اللِّحْيَةِ الْكَثَّةِ, and it is mustahab, it is preferred, recommended, that a person does takhleel of the thick beard. What is takhleel? Is to take water, a cup, a handful of water, and then from the bottom you bring it into the beard and you pass the fingers between the beard. This is called takhleel. He says بِأَصَابِعِهِ مِنَ الْأَسْفَلِ. So he does takhleel of the lihya with his fingers from the bottom. So he takes water with his hand and then he brings it to his beard from the bottom. He passes the fingers between his beard. This is called takhleel. Now, but of course, should a person do takhleel when he is in ihram or not? Yes, there is khilaf between Ibn Hajar and Muhammad al-Ramli. One of them says no, because there is a chance that the hair can come out, and the other says you do it softly. Yes, because it is masnoon, it is sunnah in wudhu, so it is something which has been ordered, so you do it softly. Yes, and if hair comes out, then you are forgiven for that. And the other says no, you don't do it, because if you do it and the hair comes out, then you become liable. Okay. We will stop here, inshallah. Any question?
Ustad, I have one question. In the text, it mentions it was wording that was used. It said وَيَنْطِفَ الْإِبْطِ, and then it said وَنَطْفُ الشَّيْبِ وَنَطْفُ اللِّحْيَةِ. Why has وَنَطْف been used for lihya? I'm not sure.
So lihya, the natf of lihya, whether it is white or not, it is disliked. Yes, so somebody who is young and he has a beard, so there is no shape to it. So he does natf of the beard himself. So that becomes makruh, because this is trying to become, a man who doesn't have beard is called amrad. And so he's going towards becoming an amrad, and it is not something that is light. They say Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi, they talk about adab of the student to the teacher. So they said when Imam Muhammad al-Shaybani rahimahullah ta'ala, when he came to Imam Abu Hanifa to study, he was young and he didn't have a beard. So he says, you stay behind me. And then he said he stayed behind him until one day he saw the shadow of Imam Muhammad on the wall in front of Imam Abu Hanifa. And then he looked at him and he said, why are you sitting behind me? He says, you told me to sit behind you. He said, I told you to sit behind me because at that time you did not have a beard. Yes, but now it's not, you don't sit behind me, you sit in front of me. And then they talk about Imam al-Zufar, who is also one of the students of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. He was very clever, subhanallah. They said that he exceeded his intelligence over the other students of Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad. But once when he was studying and he saw the Sheikh coming, and he pretended that he did not see the Sheikh, because he knows that if the Sheikh sees him and he has seen the Sheikh, then he needs to stand up and go and greet the Sheikh, ask him how he's doing and so on. And it will take time from his studying, and he wanted to study. So he pretended he did not see the Sheikh. But the Sheikh had seen him, that he had, has seen him. And they say that in all the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Zufar's qawl is mu'tamad in handfuls of places. They say around maybe 13 or something like that. I don't know, Allahu Alam. But it is not prominent the way Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad al-Shaybani are prominent within the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa. So, الشيء بشيء يذكر. So to remove the lihya itself is makruh. And then there is to remove the white hair. Once I saw one brother and he only took out the white beard. So after doing all of that, when I saw him again, he had changed. He has lost years from his face. Yes. So that also is makruh. That only you intend to take the white beard or the white hair. So you pluck them all out without dyeing to black. MashaAllah. So dyeing of black is haram. Yes, but the removing of the white beard is makruh. So he was able to do that, and subhanallah, when you look at him, he has not shed his beard, but he has shed years from his face. Now, that's why he mentioned it. Any other question? For the woman, if she has if a woman has a heavy beard, we say that she has to wash the inside and outside, because for the woman, for her, she shaves her beard. But if she decides she doesn't want to shave her beard because it's become difficult or whatever, then we say that you have to wash the inside and out. For the man, we ordered him to keep his beard. The Sharia has ordered him to keep his beard. So then it is difficult for him that every time he needs to wash the inside and out. So takhfif has come upon him. But for the woman who has a thick beard, and she decides to keep the thick beard, we say that you need to wash inside and out. Naam, Sheikh, you are saying?
Yes, Jazakallah Sheikh. بخصوص change the color of the hair or the beard, after they become white. Are they allowed in Shafi?
Yes, but not with black. It is allowed with red or yellow, whatever, but not with black. Yes, with black it is haram, because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, يعني اجتنبوا السواد, stay away from the black dye. But also in another hadith, there's a mentioning that a time will come that they will be dyeing their their whiteness, they dye the white with black. Yes, and then in that hadith he says these people will not smell the smell of Jannah. So because of the wa'id, they say that dyeing with black is not permissible. Not that it is makruh, but it is haram. What about the child? Sometimes the child is born with what? With, you know, sometimes they have patches of white hair or patches of red hair or whatever. Yes. So then you want to apply all of it and make it black. It's a child. So the Sheikh says, yani in the shuruh they say, ظاهر كلامهم, meaning the outward or the appearance of their words is that it is haram. But this, the way he worded the sentence, it is not tasrih of tahrim. Yeah, there is not being, you know, explicit that it is haram. Yes, that is for if it's a child or whatever. No. Any other question? طيب إن شاء الله.
So Sheikh,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your effort.
Sheikh, just one more question. So the complete removal of it is haram, but the karaha is to do with the reduction.
No. What are you talking about? The beard or what?
Yes, the lihya, na'am. Yeah.
No, the beard. The removal of the beard, all of it, is also makruh, not haram, according to the madhab of Imam. According to the madhab of Imam. We're talking about dyeing of black. The dyeing of black dye, that is haram. The removal of the beard is makruh according to the madhab of Imam Shafi, even though the qawl of Imam Shafi himself is that it is haram. Yes.
Okay.
So the shaving or removal of the beard, it is makruh, not haram, according to the madhab of Imam Shafi. So the plucking of the beard also will fall under that it is haram, whether it is plucking the black beard or plucking the white hair.
Okay. All right. Jazakallah khair.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your efforts and increase us in knowledge and also in amal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us ilm and amal. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحانك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.